Yeah, and so I guess Imra was watching that, and he told Jackie Jill to post something on Twitter for Red Ruby. Because he works with Red Ruby and Ermi, Jackie Jill. Yeah, they work back and forth a little bit here and there for the marketing stuff.
No, that wouldn't be free.
Really?
They have a local
Even
show.
The River.
Well, are we talking rotation or like the local show on Sunday?
Yeah. Oh, okay, so they're going to throw it on the Sunday night show.
That's for free.
And then how do you get onto the daily show?
You got to form relationships. You know, they build themselves as independent radio, so
Right.
I think they're trying to tell you that, you know, a broader scope of artists have a chance to penetrate that. It implies it. I don't know if it's true. I still think money talks.
Right. So you could be on like the weekend show or whatever, and then maybe if you get enough callers to call in, right?
It helps.
You know?
Yeah.
And, you know, if enough people are, you know, liking the music, then they might throw it on the daily
Yeah,
show.
the idea
right?
is to catch the attention of the people that'll make a difference. You know, like a program director.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if he keeps hearing your name, he's
Right.
going to give you a chance.
Yeah. But the odds are against you, because you have probably,
Totally.
you know,
Yeah.
1,000 other bands that are trying to do the same thing, so. How many don't make it? Well, most of them.
99%.
So, how's that done on the internet? The same as it always was? The payola? It's basically the same thing, right? Nothing's really changed.
Well, what are we're talking about? Radio? Internet radio? I mean...
Yeah, or even YouTube and Twitter, you know, I mean, you look at some of those accounts and they have 350,000 views or followers overnight, and it just doesn't make sense.
Well, I would say some of them are legit, and some of them aren't.
I mean, one instance would be like George Putt, P-U-T-H. I noticed his first video had like 350,000 views, and it's like,
How quick?
I don't know, probably within a few years. I mean, I think overnight, because every video he puts out has 350,000 views. So he's probably paying for the views, because I never, you know.
It's hard to say, because sometimes you do find an
I
audience.
don't know that you get that many views.
Yeah, maybe he just penetrated something, and that just happens to be the number that you know, latched onto his stuff.
Why is Aleister Crowley so popular with artists? I've seen that a lot of artists admire him. Like, why is he in the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album cover?
Equally unaware that on the cover for their album Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, they actually include Satanist Aleister Crowley in their group of idols. The cover features a bunch of people who they looked up to, and one of those pictured here in the upper left-hand corner is Satanist Aleister Crowley. Clearly, it is him, a very popular picture of the demon.
It just, that always seemed like the oddest thing. Like, why is he in there?
Someone, involved in the artwork must have.
What was behind the Beatles when they had baby dolls with torn arms off?
Yeah, look at how happy they are holding a bunch of dead babies with their heads chopped off. Yay, we're just all about peace and love.
Well, that was an album that they took off the market.
Yeah, but why did they have that? What was the what was the message by having baby dolls with arms torn off?
I forget why they said they did it. I don't think they meant anything bad by it. They probably just wanted to get attention. So that was the beginning of the counterculture, or
That was supposed to be art, basically.
Yeah, it was the early days when people were getting more edgier and
trying something new,
controversial, and
right,
yeah.
and saying that they're bigger than God or whatever.
Yeah, well, that was a misconception. That was actually something that was taken out of context, John.
Was it?
Yeah, because I've seen a good amount about that.
Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Nobody told me there'd be days like these. Strange days indeed.
We have not forgotten what the Beatles said. The Beatles made a statement in all the newspapers that they're getting more better than Jesus himself.
Well, originally I was pointed out that fact in reference to England, that we meant more to kids than Jesus did, or religion at that time. I wasn't knocking it or putting it down, I was just saying it.
It was something that John Lennon said in it was printed in a magazine or something that took it out of context. And I don't even think, and it may have been over in England, but you know, it got blown out of proportion. It was no big deal. It shouldn't have.
He wasn't meaning it literally, right?
No.
He was just basically saying we're huge, right?
That they were more popular.
We're pretty popular.
More popular. He wasn't saying that he was better or anything.
Yeah.
And it's true, you know, when the Beatles were in the, you know,
They were more popular.
you know, the kids wanted to go to Beatles concerts, not church.
Right. Right. So maybe that's basically what he was saying.
Yeah, he was.
You know.
He was just. Yeah.
There's always someone that wants it. It's so easy to take things out of context.
Yeah, and
right?
then if you don't like the Beatles, well, now you got something to fight, you know,
Right.
to use against them.
And it's possible there's someone that didn't.
Oh, plenty of people didn't like
Yeah.
that. The whole younger generation that was, you know, into the nice music.
Oh, they didn't like.
You know, into jazz
Oh,
or
I
just
see.
the very.
So they might have had one record, and when he said that, they just threw it in the fire, basically. Right? Because everyone burnt that album.
Yeah, they did burn over a lot of their paraphernalia.
Have you heard of holistic songwriting on YouTube?
Explain a little.
There's a songwriting website, and then there's also Recording Revolution and Pensado's Place.
Yeah.
Pensado's Place is a YouTube. These are all YouTube channels, but they talk about they have interviews with producers and mix engineers. So they'll have them on, and they'll also show you different techniques of using like plugins and Pro Tools and how to record and stuff.
And now, coming to you from the Pensado Media Center, powered by Westlake Pro.
One of our favorite all-time guys. You're going to enjoy it. You're at the place. It's Pensado's place.
Andrew, thank you so much for being here today, man. My
Welcome,
friend.
man.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Real pleasure.
Our pleasure.
Thank you.
Rick Rubin fascinates me. Of course, Don Was does too, and Rob Cavallo. But there's something about Rick. He's just that enigmatic kind of. On your records, I hear my old buddy parallel compression. You use a lot of parallel compression,
Almost
don't you?
exclusively, yeah.
Exclusively meaning on every track?
Well, no, instead of insert compression.
Oh, okay.
Like as many people on this particular show have said, compression's kind of hard to understand sometimes, and I have a really hard time understanding when I compress something, all the stuff I've lost that I liked about the uncompressed
Yeah.
version. And
Dude,
I don't.
let me shake your hand.
Here's why. I'd been going back and forth, always trying to find reverbs, and they need to be reverbs that are subtle and that don't stick out, because like mixing for Rick, he's not a fan of reverbs that you hear. He doesn't mind feeling them, you know, having a space. And sometimes very early in a mix, you get it, like the transition works, and I have to make a point to step away from the console. I take a snapshot of the faders, I save the session, like, okay, now I'll keep mixing the song. And I'll even sometimes just print that little bit so I can go back to it and realize how much I've screwed it up in the last 4 hours, and then go back.
And then Recording Revolution is learning how to record songs in your bedroom or studio. So he gives you techniques on how to set up your mix bus and what mics you should use, and so on and so on.
Hey friends, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com, and today let's talk about how you can master your own songs at home in 10 minutes. Very subtle, but I think it cleans it up a lot nicer, and it sounds a little closer to the Maroon 5 song. I spend a lot of time on this channel talking about how to record well and mix well, so when you get to mastering, you're not having to reinvent the wheel. Mastering should be the most straightforward of all the steps when it comes to making great music. And you can just play to taste till that sounds cool to you. So little parallel compression where it smacks is a really great way to bring out some energy in mastering.
And then holistic songwriting, he takes apart songs like from, say, The Weeknd or Britney Spears or...
When we talk about chords, we usually talk about three-part harmony and up. But that doesn't mean that anything less than that automatically sounds dull. So if you've ever wondered what you can do with a simple power chord, here's your answers. What's up everyone, Friedem Findasen here from Holistic Songwriting. Welcome to Season 2 of the Artist Series, where we look at the biggest icons in rock history and what we can learn from them. Okay, if you didn't catch that, here's what happened. As we discussed, this is the underlying chord progression. If we stick to the B-flat Phrygian scale, these chords should be minor, major, minor, major, major.
Have you gotten into reaction videos at all?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, that's another thing that's kind of...
You mean like where they say like how grandmas react to 9 Inch Nails?
Well,
Something
someone
like
will listen to a song
Like
and then
Marilyn
they'll film their reaction to it and they'll say
yeah.
something about it.
Yeah.
You know, these will be people that may have never heard 9 Inch Nails, and then they listen to Head Like a Hole or whatever the song's called.
Right.
You know, or Blank You Like an Animal, and you know, and then so it's kind of interesting. That's actually turning
to see what they say.
Some of the younger generations really like some of that stuff.
In most cases, they do.
And then there's another example of how they're broadening out and listening to other stuff beyond the parameters set by the industry.